I
You
really
can go
thought
on.
you just ran this through Chat GPT and just like, oh, I made this, and but no, this is amazing. I mean, it really is. You've done a great job on it. And I was thinking about it. I've been thinking about it a lot. The prepare, develop, qualify, proficiency. I like the PDQ Pro approach,
Right,
and it makes you really think more about how to be successful with your training practices. You know,
right,
you want your guy hitting the street hard at the end so he can do this job top notch at his ability instead of throwing
right,
them in the trenches and having them figure it out,
right.
which is what I've done in the past. Hey, get out there and sail, you know, get
Yeah,
busy, keep waiting on kind of thing.
yeah.
So when did you
That's
start? When did you decide to do this? How long ago did y'all start on it?
so let me give you a little of the background on it. Um, my the reason why the picture of the Monroe is on here, the Coast Guard boat, is
Huh?
when Ed and I both graduated from the academy. Um, we both ended up on the same ship in San Francisco, and that's the Coast Guard Cutter Monroe. And when you go to a ship like that, or any major unit in the Coast Guard, and this is uh, it's the same thing whether you're in the Navy, Marine Corps. They all have levels of qualification. So when we arrived, they handed us a manual, and I still have it somewhere around here. It was basically a thick 8 by 10, 8 by 11 book of uh, things that we had to execute and demonstrate our knowledge in order to drive the ship. We didn't just arrive. We didn't just arrive. Hey, your job's to drive the ship. Here you go, Mr. Perry. Take her out. She's all yours. No, we we were given the book to go qualify, and that qualification is all it's part of what's called the personal qualification standards, PQS. So you see where we kind of got the PDQ, PQS. And that PQS has a series of exercises and tasks and things that we had to go do. For example, we had to go into the engine room. You spend 2 weeks in the engine room tracing fuel lines, tracing sewage lines, oil lines, standing watch, doing oil viscosity test, all the things that we were required to know and do. Because when we're driving the ship, if I get an emergency, or at 2 o'clock in the morning, we've got to turn on the turbine engines and go super fast. I need to know what happens when I say all ahead flank. Boom. How long does that? It just doesn't happen. There are things and steps that have to go in the process. I had to spend time with the small boats because you practice lowering the small boats. Because if I had an exercise where we had to go do a boarding, I needed to know how to set up those small boats or what position to put the boat in.
Mm-hmm.
And we did that every person that we were involved with throughout the ship. And part of the exercise is to demonstrate my knowledge to the subject matter expert. So if I'm in the engine room, Fireman Schmuckatelli, who's been on the ship for a year and a half, and he's a qualified engineer, he just graduated high school, but he knows more about the engine room than I do because he's been in there. He can sign off on my certification. Yep, Mr. Perry showed me that he traced me the lines. He showed me all this stuff like that. Boom. And we did that throughout the whole ship, and we do it for two main reasons. One, the commanding officer of the ship needs to know, because it's his ship, that when Ensign Parry or Ensign Beale is driving the ship, they know what they're doing. And then secondly, and this is probably more importantly, everybody who is a stakeholder in that ship, we basically touch almost everybody on the crew. They need to know that we can drive the ship because they need to feel safe at 2 o'clock in the morning in Alaska in really crappy weather.
Great. Wow.
So it's a team effort getting everybody qualified and certified. Is it perfect? No. Is there ways to improve it? Absolutely. But it's what works and what happens right now.
Sure.
And what happens is you go through the booklet and you get certified and you get checked off as you move along, and you have milestones and you have things that get signed off, but you're not certified until you sit with the commanding officer, the second in command, my boss, the engineering officer, and you sit in front of a board and they grill you for an hour and walk me through this. What do you do in this scenario? What do you do in this situation? How do you do this? How do you do that? Until they are comfortable that where I know what
Sure.
they know that I can do the ship. Now, when I left the Coast Guard, well, let me uh, do one more. When I left the ship, I went to the Naval Academy Prep School as an instructor. So I was teaching for 2 years, teaching and coaching for 2 years, and then I finished up at the Coast Guard Training Center in Petaluma, California, where I was working as a performance consultant, studying and working with instructional designers, curriculum development, working with consultants to help develop training and competency-based performance tools for Coast Guard units.
Mm.
Little did I know that it was going to be applicable to my corporate world. Um, I left the Coast Guard and I went into corporate America. And my first job was with Lucent Technologies as a field service manager right there in the San Francisco Bay Area. I was running a shop of technicians that probably worked with Alexander Graham Bell. They created the phone system. Great bunch of guys. Um, and they had been part of the divestiture from Bell and Lucent, and they've been around.
Yeah.
So they were installing phone systems uh, right there in the Bay Area. I mean, we were at the front line of voice over IP. What is this VoIP stuff? This is amazing. Um, and one incident in particular stuck out, and while I was doing that, was engaging with the sales teams because the sales teams were talking to my technicians, were installing the phone systems, and I was on the service side. And I had these two sales guys that came into my office one day and just like rode me the riot act. Oh, your technicians are ruining my sales. They're blowing it. Ron Abs did this and Billy Turner did that and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, wow, 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 wow. I'm like, I knew enough to go, okay, guys, I'll talk to my team on Monday. Thank you. I mean, they're sales guys. I like them. I want to help them. I talked to the sales teams. Monday, I talked to my technicians and I told them what I heard. And they all just started laughing. Of course they said that. Well, he doesn't know even how to sell the systems. Carlos doesn't even know. He oversells and overpromises. He doesn't even know how long it takes to install the system. Of course they're pissed. They don't even know what they're doing. And so
Wow.
I'm like, oh, okay, things are, and I just like flippantly said, look, guys, the next day I talked to the sales guys, I said, look, I talked to my technicians and I think this is what's happening. Is it a fair statement? It's like they're kind of like, well, yeah, okay, maybe a little bit. Look, these guys are happy to help you. Go spend a week with them. Go spend 3 or 4 days riding with them and installing phones and kind of get some insights. And they're like, okay, we'll give it a try. Fast forward about a week later, they came back to my office and they're like, oh my God, Bill, oh, that was fantastic. I learned so much. Oh my God. And so what happened was they were doing what I had to do as part of my learning how to drive the ship. They spent time with the install team. They spent time with the guys that were out there on the front lines. And they went from adversaries, us against them, to now they had a whole new team that was prospecting for them. Because in that environment, and you've probably seen it, nobody wants to talk to the sales guy. We want to talk to the technician who knows how the freaking thing works. And
Right.
what would happen was, because this was back in the dot-com world where all these buildings were going up, and one office was going in and somebody was coming in next week and they go, hey, what phone system do you have? How do you do it? How can I get that? Oh, well, you should call Carlos. Let me hook you up. Well, I'll talk to Wahid. So instead of sending them to corporate, they sent them to the direct sales guys, and they started building more. And these guys, their business exploded. But but it's because they built a relationship with the post sales team. And
Sure.
now instead of working against them, they were working together. And that was like my first clue. And
They weren't setting them up for failure.
right, yeah, exactly. So when a potential customer comes up and says, hey, where did you get this? Instead of sending them to the 1-800 number, they would send them directly to the sales guy. Or if the customer came up and said, look, how's this? I don't know. Well, look, I think this is what you really need. You need to double the size and this, that, and the other thing. Let me hook you up with the sales guy. He'll walk you through it, but this is what you need. Okay, cool. Then when I left Lucent, I went to my first sales job. Well, actually, Lucent turned into a Avaya. then I went to my first sales job at Nextel,
Right.
doing B2B sales in the East Bay of San Francisco. My territory was from Berkeley all the way down to Fremont. And so I go off to my first sales training. I'm excited. This is training. I love training. This is fantastic. I can't wait to go apply it and use it. This is great. I get to my sales manager, and this is what he says to me, God honest truth. Bill, don't worry about what they told you. I'm going to show you the right way to do it.
Oh.
I'm sorry, what? I don't worry about it. I'm going to show you how to really do it here. So almost instantly, my new leader just crapped on everything that I learned.
Oh my God.
I'm like, where I came from in the military, you can't have 200 people arriving on a ship and doing things 200 different ways. People get hurt, people die. It's just not good. So then he proceeds to tell me, this is all in the same conversation. What I want you to do is I want you to go hang out with Bob next week. Go shadow Bob and, spend some time with him. Like, his name really was Bob, by the way, Bob Lazzarini. Super, super good guy. He was the top performer. He was the subject matter expert, but he wasn't prepared. He wasn't right. Hey, Bob. Yeah. What? Okay. Why me? What? So in a matter of like 5 minutes, my new leader crapped on what I learned, passed his responsibility to Bob. And I now know, as I'm sure many people in the sales world did, this manager was a top performer who got promoted into a leadership position and had no idea how to coach, teach, lead, train, probably forgot I was even coming in that day and sent me to Bob to babysit me while he figured out what the hell to do.
It's funny because it was like, I know everything. You know nothing. Go talk to Bob.
Yeah, exactly.
Go talk to Bob.
Exactly. And this was 1999, 2000. So it's 25 years ago. And it still happens today. It still happens today. Corporations are not doing themselves any service by promoting a top performer into leadership. They're not creating leaders. They're creating super AEs that swoop in and close the deal. Get out of my way. I'll do it. And they have no idea how to coach and teach and build and train a real organization of high quality sellers.
Mm-hmm.
It's all do what I do, or I can't figure out why they can't do this, or that. And at that point I realized, oh wow, the sales world does not, there is a huge disconnect between what they teach and what they actually do in the sales world.
Sure.
And that's when I started a conversation with Ed, who at the time he was, so this is probably fine. He was probably flying. He was an aviator. He was probably flying, he flew for like 10, 12 years in the Coast Guard. But he got his master's in instructional design and leadership development, all that cool stuff. And so when I left sales, I went into training. I from that point, I was either in sales or I was teaching sales, because I got very passionate about helping sellers learn how to actually connect the dots. And I eventually got to the point where I was done selling, because selling is hard, it's exhausting, it's tedious. And I get more excited about watching people and get their lights when their lights turn on, like when they get it, they connect. Oh my God, that's amazing. And they start applying it and using it and they see the difference.
Right.
So when I started teaching with and I would call up Ed and I'd say, look, I got this situation. How do I do it? Remind me about Kirkpatrick and what was what do we need to do with the Addy model? And he's like, well, first you have to do this, that, and he would be very academic. And I'm like, no, stop. Talk to me like I'm in 6th grade. Oh, okay, yeah, do this, boom, boom. And eventually we developed a rhythm over the years where he understood I don't need the academia. I need to talk to 6th graders and we could dumb it down. And we use the term Apple simple, make it just drag and drop, drag and drop. That's all we need to do. And that's how we got to PDQ, to make it as incredibly simple, incredibly easy. Because at the end of the day, there's a shit ton of stuff a salesperson's got to learn.
Right.
But what they really need to learn is who do I call, what do I say, and what are the next steps? We can add to that later. We can build on to that later. But this is the type of customer you're looking for. Here's the tools you use to find them, and go. And more often than not, most sales organizations collect information, throw it into a repository, and it's usually SharePoint or Confluence, that I call Conflusion. And they have multiple different locations. Marketing puts something here, product puts something here, product marketing puts something here, HR puts something here, and they say, well, I put it up in SharePoint. Go find it, salesperson.
I told you it was over here in this folder.
Right. Did you guys read this? Did you do that? And they don't, because nobody has pointed the seller in the right direction. They they're required to do things, but we're not shown how to do things or pointed in the right direction, and we're not held accountable for knowing those things. And that's where I
Yes.
find the biggest disconnect with not just sales, but most organizations in corporate America. Here, go online, do the training, LMS, print out the certification. You're certified.
Right.
No, a quiz does not change behavior.
Right.
A quiz does
Yeah.
not guarantee performance.
I kind of had, not to the depth that you had with, did you actually drive one of these boats? Were you actually
Yeah, that is the actual boat that Ed and I drove. The U.S. Coast Guard Cutter Monroe.
people live on this boat at a given time?
Yeah,
What's at sea? How many? How many people?
100. There's about 175 to 200, depending.
A lot of people that you have to protect, that take care of and make sure that you know how to do it.
Yeah.
When I worked for First Cafeteria way back in the day, a long time ago, before everybody had computers and all that stuff, and old school training, which is, they had you move from department to department, and you worked with the head
Right.
person in that department, and they showed you how to do every aspects of those departments as you move from bakery to meats to vegetables, dry cook to desserts to frontline to register to cleaning toilets. The whole
Yeah.
way through. To be a manager, you have to understand all the aspects of what it takes to run that place. So in case John here breaks his toe, stubs his toe, you can step in to that role. And that's kind of like what I think you're doing here is your help. It's not about running the whole facility, but the department has so many parts to it. For anybody to learn how to run that department, they need to understand all the moving parts of it, make it successful.
That
That's
is,
sales,
yeah.
especially.
I mean, it's definitely part of it. I like to call it the support ecosystem. And we all, in the sales world, we all know that there's the one or two lone wolf sellers out there that are just selling like crazy, but they leave a wake of pissed off people behind them. And we make excuses for them and we say, well, they're just out there selling. We clean up their mess and away we go. And bless their heart, right, wrong, or indifferent, they are they help create the us versus them world.
Right.
And when they come on board, their attitude is just show me what I got to do. Give me the price and I'm going to go sell.
Yeah. It's a car. It's worth this much, and you're going to buy it.
As opposed to mirroring what Ed and I did when we came on board the ship, and using adult learning principles and instructional design and curriculum development, because I know that when a new seller arrives on day one, they're not going to know how to close a deal. They're just not. Sure, we hire them with some abilities and some experience. They know the industry, they have a general idea, and all that stuff like that, but they don't know how we work. They don't know how we operate. They don't know who their support system is. They don't know how to do an expense report. They don't know how to do who the pre-sale team is or the post-sale team is or all this stuff. They don't know. And so part of PDQ Pro, and I think it was the fourth, fifth step. Let's see here. Where is it? Focus on the role, focus on activities, the ecosystem. Step 3, right? Ecosystem. Who is it? Who supports this person? So when the seller hits the button that says, I made a sale, what happens? Who do they involve? Who's involved? Prior to them being free to go do that, we set up appointments and engagements with them. So in my earlier story, my first sales manager correctly sent me to Bob because I probably should have spent time with Bob, but Bob was not prepared for me. Had the sales manager known that I was coming or remembered that I was coming and told Bob 2 days before, a week before, hey, Bob, we got a new hire coming on Monday. Here's the worksheet that I want you to work through. Here are the things that I need you to help him focus on. Bob probably would have been a little bit more helpful.
Prepared,
right? And so we do that with sales, uh, with sellers. You know, when they report aboard in the first week, I know that they're not going to remember anything. It's just when you hire somebody the first week, their brain's all over the place. It's basic adult, you know. But here's a list of things that I need you to do, and I need you to get connected. And we focus on, you know, their tools. You don't have to remember the tool. You just got to log in, get all set up, make sure you can tick that box. Because on Monday, now we're going to start to dive in and use those tools and get that technology all set up and everything prepared. It's kind of like mise en place, if you will, in the cooking world, right? Get everything in its place and everything operating and all that stuff, so it's all ready to go.
right?
And then we set up appointments with them to go talk to the client services team, the finance team, the legal team, these other people. We give them canned questions that they got to go ask them. But at the same time, we also talk to the people in client services. What do you need a seller to know? What do you need them to know or be able to do to work well with you? Look, if you guys could get them to do these 3 things, that'd be fantastic. Good. You're going to do it for us. What? Yeah, we're going to make the arrangement, and you're going to approve that Bob knows how to do the job. Not me, your team. So we're helping the support ecosystem, just like the Coast Guard did with the Fireman Schmuckatelli. He had the authority to sign off on my approval, whether I could do it or not. We do it with everybody else, so that now instead of it's us versus them, new seller against everybody else, it's actually Jeff, the new hire, working with Jill in finance or Steve in client services, and they have a relationship. I'm here rooting for you. I want to help you, and let's get this thing going. But we also don't do, it's not a one-time deal interaction, because we know that sellers will like, okay, I got to talk to client services. I talk to client services. Great. Checklist. Okay. I got to talk to pre-sale. Checklist. Hey, I talked to everybody. Can I go sell now? Okay, sure. We're going to do that. But as you move through your onboarding and you go through the program, you're going to go back and connect with client services. You're going to have that conversation again. You're going to go through some mud and some muck and experience some stuff, so that when you do go back to a conversation with the pre-sales team, it's a better conversation. So that when you are actually selling, you're not effing it up because you've already made those mistakes. Now you're accelerating and doing things faster and better, more consistently.
I kind of think, you know, you keep pointing out about the sales team. And the thing I think too is about the positions in a company. The sales team's probably the most critical position because they are the one that brings the fuel to the company. But they got to understand all the aspects of what's going on. So when the customer hits them with a question, it's like, oh, let me call Bob and get an answer on that. Let me get
Sure.
back to you on that. To where all the other positions in the company, they have kind of fixed things that they do all the time.
Yeah.
Support's always dealing with support. They're always answering these questions.
Sure.
Engineering is always, in my situation, they're writing code in very
Yep.
sophisticated code. Managers are managing people. So salespeople they got to have multiple hats, personalities to be able to interact across the whole, not only the company with all the different people, but
Sure.
with the customers that they're interacting with, so they can hit them with questions and then know the product and the people and the processes well enough so that if the customer hits them with a novel idea, they've been trained well enough to know, hey, that gives
Right.
me an idea that this might help out with our company, and maybe I can
Right.
present and offer these kind of other sales tactics.
Right.
You, I know you're doing some consulting now, which is really cool, and I'm excited about that for you. Are you getting to use like these techniques with your consulting that you're doing?
Oh, absolutely. I use them all the time. I mean, that's the stuff that I do, and these are the conversations that I have on a regular basis. What
Yes.
do you guys need to know or be able to do? And um, like this first role, that's where I'm at right now. The first thing I did is like, okay, let's talk to the VP of sales. So I got 4 different regions, I got 4 different VP of sales, and I'm talking to them. I said, what do you need these guys to know or be able to do?
Hmm.
And most sales leaders kind of want to go down. Well, they got to know the story. They got to know this. They get down to the uh, weeds way too fast. So I have to pull them out. And I say, look, okay, let's try this again. Imagine you have a seller who's been selling for 2 years consistently. They're a good performer, maybe a top performer. What are they doing consistently? What do they know and do consistently in order to do that? In order to close a deal, what do they have to know or be able to do? And then we start to work our way backwards because um, they'll all say, well, they got to know the CRM really well. They've got to know how to do a deal sheet really, really well. They got to know how to do internal cost request really, really well. Okay, well, let's break down the internal cost request. What's actually involved? Well, they've got to use these 4 tools. Oh, okay. So we got to get them good at these 4 tools. All right, let's talk about those. What do they need to know or do in these 4 tools? Well, this tool, they need to pull these 2 things. With that tool, they need to pull these 3 things. And then they have to develop a business case. Oh, well, where do they learn about the business case? So now they start to see that, look, it compounds, it builds up on top of it. And you can't just throw it at them. You have to help them become students of their craft in your world, in the world that we operate right now. Um, and so I like to um, put this. I like to help leaders think in 4 different buckets. They have their own different ways, but these are the 4 buckets I like to push everybody's thinking into. First and foremost is you have to understand the industry that you are serving. Why the hell did you even create this product? Who's your customer? What do they care about? Why do they care about what they care about? Where does your customer go spend time? Where does your customer go to complain? Where does your customer go to get help? What industry publications do they read? What conventions do they attend? How do they learn to get better? Because you need to tune into them and to understand their industry and become a student of them and their industry and what's going on, so that later on you can understand their pain and challenges and connect a solution to that.
Right, right.
And helping sellers learn how to become students of their industry is probably the most industry and craft, because that's probably the most important thing that they can do. Because if they can learn how to do that, then everything else is gravy on top of it. The
Well, and
second,
you
but
pointed out to me too that, which I think was a great term, I hadn't heard it before, was don't do data dump. You need to inquire, get to
yeah,
know them, ask them questions, dig deeper into what they're about, just like you were saying, find
Sure.
out what got them excited, what they want to push, what they're trying to do, what they're trying to achieve, and then
Yep.
connect, with them on how your product can
Right.
help them out with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Data dump is just, show up and throw up is just, you're just throwing up against stuff against the wall and hoping it sticks. And meanwhile, your customer is going, I wish he would ask me this question.
Yeah.
And, it's this, come on, we can connect. Oh, you said something magical. Yay. Um, but if you're a student of the industry, you can ask a couple of questions, and you can say, "Hey, Tony, what are you thinking about this, and how are you handling that? What are you? Are you? Oh my God, you're right. We are so struggling with that. Yeah, tell me about that. Hey, would it help you if you could do this, that, and the other thing? Yeah, you can do that. Well, I don't know if you're the right person right now, but let's set up some time to get together and talk later.
Yes. Yes. Exactly. It was,
Yeah,
and when I first started pushing websites, that was a key way that I could get people excited because back then the websites were new. It was exciting, and look, I can
sure.
click on pictures, and there's pictures, and links. And once
Yep.
I started opening the doors to them on, have you considered that you can do this with your company business online?
Right.
Suddenly their eyes started sparking, and they started
Yeah.
having it. Like I've got to get a salesperson rolling, and I'm seriously going to be using your book to outline how I'm gonna get them fully trained and get them onboarded and so
Yeah.
forth. Yeah, because it's important, like you said, that once they hit the street, that they don't have to think about the answers. That
Yeah.
they know the answers already. They don't
Right.
have to seek it out. They're competent, and the customer looks at them as representing the company because they represent
Right.
everything about your company,
Right.
everything. And the
Yeah.
last thing you want is, oh, they got to talk to Bob the technician about something, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
So anyway, so
yeah.
at what point did you decide, hey, I'm going to write a book to do this?
It kind of wrote itself, to be honest with you.
Mhm.
Because as I was going from, role to role career, yeah, whether I was selling or teaching, I would start building these individual chapters and modules and, questionnaires. And like all of a sudden we realized we've got pretty much a book right here because what we're doing is we're walking people through it. And then I think when we really it started to come together was when we did presentations for ATD or the Sales Enablement Organization, and we were doing presenting on it. Ed called it. Oh, come on, what is it? Ed had a cool name for it. From rock to rock star, or uh, you did it apprentice to X. Well, anyway, we basically that was the
Expert.
thing. Yeah.
Yep.
And if you go to my LinkedIn page, you can see him there as well. Um, and once we started presenting, we realized, oh my God, I mean, this is a book for crying out loud. Let's just freaking print a book. Let's write it out. And we've been working on writing this book for maybe since we started this in New Hampshire when I was living in New Hampshire back in 2016, 2017. I have I have pictures of all the notes up on my wall in my office and whiteboards and all this stuff from back in our house in New Hampshire. It was funny. Poor Ed, he was like, "Come on, can we finish this?" Ed's the kind of guy that has like, if there's a box that needs to be ticked, can we tick the freaking box? I just want to complete it.
Speaking of ticking boxes, I'm looking at your LinkedIn right now, and what I don't see is I don't see a link to your book. Um,
Ah, no, no, you don't, not yet. Um,
Else, then it needs to have a link to your
uh,
book.
it probably does. Um, yeah, I suppose I could do that. it's one of those things where it's like, it's not quite ready yet. It could be so much better. I don't, but one of the things that we do have planned on doing is taking chapters of it and creating LinkedIn blogs and social media blogs and posts about it, and talk and discuss it and walk people through the process. Yeah.
Look here, PDQ Pro. I think you should have a group. There's no group for that. That would be a smart group to have on LinkedIn.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Group going, and that's where you push your blogs out to, and then you mention on LinkedIn, hey, I have a blog on my group, come check it out, and invite all your friends and loved ones and celebrities.
Yeah.
And
How do I see that? There's something I didn't even know that I could make a group on LinkedIn
oh
about
yeah,
LinkedIn groups.
it's pretty straightforward. They want everybody to be able to create groups. So yeah, down there, there's groups, and create a group right there. Create a group. And there, you just tap on group and invite your family and friends.
Well, I probably should do that and send that to Ed, because then he'll go, oh my God. And then Ed's going to take it and run with it and do like, Ed's the kind of guy that will, the kid with the bone, you give a dog a bone, Ed will take the bone and he will make stew, and he will have a side dish with it, and he'll have a 4-course menu planned along with that bone. He will get at it.
That sounds like a very dynamic PDQ Pro salesman then.
As a
Man,
matter of fact, I shared your feedback the other day about wishing there was a workbook, and I will forward you the. He did
it's
like he already did it. It's like, oh yeah, it's right here. Okay, yeah. I'm like, okay, I'll text it to you right now. There's one.
seriously, long-term vision is, have you, let's see something here. Just curious, pdqpro.com.
Uh,
It's owned. There is a pdqpro.com already.
yeah, if you do PDQ dash pro, I think. We have that one. Ed's got a couple of them. PDQ
I've already got some.
dash. Yeah, PDQ Pro, PDQ dash pro.com. I
Because
believe.
I see a vision. I mean, it's not my vision, it's your vision, but doing what I do, with website design and ideas and spinning them all kinds of directions as I spin is, and I think I mentioned this to you already. If you had your website, you had it built, and it's not a one-off sell, because one-off sales really don't work well for customers in the end. They need
No.
something to embrace. And like I was talking to you about, like, this is great. It has a workbook somewhat in it. And like I would use this one for my sales position, and then do another one for an engineering, another one for a tech support. But you could set up plans, templates on your website, or people could submit templates of, hey, this is my PDQ Pro template for
Sure.
this position. And then people can use that. And then you have like a subscription-based model system so that
Yeah.
it benefits them, and you can throw out
Yeah.
new stuff at them, and keep them rolling.
That is, you are in alignment with a lot of the stuff that we've been talking about. And it's really interesting. It's first of all, this year just sucked. The last three years sucked. I didn't share with you, Ed lost his first wife, gosh, back in 2018 during this, to brain cancer.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh no, we've been on a roller coaster, the two of us, over the last couple of years. Oh shit, hopefully she canceled that appointment. Oh crap. Um,
Oh,
no. Hillary, Hillary and I earlier this week went on a tear for getting appointments with oncologists for Bubba, and we set one with this place called Blue Pearl Pet Hospital in Louisville, and they need a 24-hour cancel notice, or it's a $300 consultation fee, which they'll charge you for. I'm like, okay. Yeah.
Hey, real quick tangent, and then we'll come back. I had to get some more ink for my HP printer. I've got like
Yep.
3 or 4 printers in the office, and I always put one on everybody's desk so they didn't have to walk somewhere to pick up a piece of paper, which I'm about to shift to where they got to walk somewhere to pick up a piece of paper, because I went to order ink for toner ink. And I went to Office Depot and looked up the ink, 4 cartridges, $1,000. I'm like,
Jesus
holy
Christ.
smokes. So I go to Amazon and I look up there on Amazon and it's $600 to $800 on there. And I'm thinking, well, that's a little better. I go to Walmart, they had it for $440. Walmart's the deal. So I bought it. It came in yesterday. And I'm sorry I changed it. I looked over and saw my printer. It's like squirrel, I'm off.
I'm with you.
And I got the ink, and as I'm opening up the cartridges, I'm like, oh my God, this is refurbished. And we stuck it in, and sure enough, it said, oh, memory chip not recognized, so I ended up returning it to Walmart yesterday, and they said, oh, it'll be 3 weeks before you see the money in your bank account. 3 freaking weeks. I'm like, you're gaining interest, and it just pissed me off, the whole thing.
Oh,
But
yeah.
it's keeping my mind. So what I'm going to do is buy a brand new printer for $570 and just get rid of these others.
Right. So does everybody have color printers? Do you have all color printers?
Yeah, everybody has color printers. It's that was just me at one point. I'm like, oh, I can afford it. And so I got everybody color printers, and we were printing a lot and it looked really sharp. I do have a black printer, but this is when I was kind of flush with some money.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, screw that. Ink is too expensive now. We rarely print, rarely, and everybody can walk a few steps now to go print and get what they need, out of the printer, out of there. But anyway, I did just squirrel and just now back.
Yeah. No, I got you. I got you.
Now we're back. So what's going to be your next step? Y'all going to revision this and just kind of work it and get
Yeah.
website?
If you want, I can loop Ed into this conversation.
He's available. We can chat if he
Yeah.
wants.
Hold on.
I was going to look him up on LinkedIn anyway and just and friend him that way, But this is real exciting. Hey, I'm just curious, as far as your ISBN goes, what site did you use to get your ISBN?
Ed, I think Ed did it all through Amazon.
How much I charge you for the ISBN? Or did they?
That I don't know.
We were looking, and I found one that was like, oh, it's a couple of $100. And then Graham introduced me to one I think was like $50 for an ISBN. I can't remember which one it was. I got to hunt it down. But this is cool. Is this one-off printing with Amazon?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got that 300-page workbook we're about to push out. And
For what?
it's our student workbook for food managers. Yeah, we got one for the colleges. We're just about done with it. We're proofing it now, and then we're going to tie in.
Can you hear the ringing? Hey, hold on. Ed, meet Tony. Tony, meet Ed.
What's going on, homie? It's like, who the heck is that bald guy? No, I'm not his brother. We're not clones, which
You can't. Oh, he can't hear me. Wait. Oh, wait. Oh, hold on. I had tape over my camera. Never mind. Sorry. There we go. Ed, meet Tony. Tony, meet Ed.
Hey, Ed, how are you doing, sir?
Tony and I. Tony. Oh, hey, there's Tim. Tony. Oh, I know where you guys are at. We've been to that bar.
No, you haven't. This has been long since.
Okay.
Been here.
All right. Anyway, Tony's.
It's like any other bar.
I was just gonna ping it. Tony and I are just chatting. Tony and I have been chatting for a couple of years now, right? Yeah, he bought the book and he's using the PDQ Pro book, and we're just chit chatting. Anyway, so yep. See, look, he's got the PDQ Pro.
Yeah, a lot of upside.
Yeah. I got another person pushing me on the upside. Bill, get off your ass and fucking get that thing going. All right, I'm gonna let you go back with Tim. We'll see you, buddy. Yeah, let's see if we can do set something up. Bye.
That's awesome.
He's
Awesome.
he's bless. Sorry, you didn't have to call me, Ed. You didn't, if you're in the bar with Tim, don't call me. Don't do it. And then he calls me, and I'm like, then he wants to get off the phone as quick. I'm like, why? Just
He was probably tripping that. He's like, who's that weirdo he's introducing me to on there? And
yeah, I know. He's Ed's very much a control freak. He is he's an aviator, and
uh-huh.
so uh when aviators do things a specific way in a specific manner, and everything's got to be tick box stuff like that, and and sometimes I throw him for a loop, like, oh, we're out of sync here, bud. Okay. But also on the flip side of that, he's also really good is if we've got 8 hours planned for nothing, then anything goes. So let's have some fun.
So like right here on the last page, it says connect with us on LinkedIn, right? You can't see it here. You can see
Yeah.
it here.
Oh yeah.
Probably should have your LinkedIn links on there so they can connect with you. Or drop some QR codes that link out to your LinkedIn pages.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Otherwise, they're hunting you down, having to hunt you down. This is awesome, man. I mean, this is really cool.
Yeah.
I love the concept. I love it all. And I've worked at a lot of businesses over the years. I've probably worked up until I started DSB. I probably had 50 different jobs over the years. I mean, a lot. From sales to restaurant work to retail to construction to stacking aluminum at the local aluminum factory, and some of them had great training, and some of
Yeah.
them did not. You know, and the
Yeah.
ones that had great training, it stuck with me. I mean, I
Yeah.
remember how to do that job years later. I
Yeah.
mean, long time later, because it was quality, very
Yeah.
explicit training that helped me understand the concept of what they're doing.
Yep. Yeah.
So,
And I'd be willing to bet that that training used the simple model of I teach you, you show me, we correct, I teach you, you show me, we go back and forth, and we get better and better at doing that.
right,
And
right.
it's a simple model. It is so huge, and we don't embrace it enough in corporate America. And I speak mostly about sales because that's the world I live in, but this applies to the cooking world. This applies to the warehouse world. This applies to any job that requires a productive output or a skill to learn a skill to do something. You need them to do it proficiently, efficiently. And if they don't, you don't make a profit, people get hurt, et cetera, et cetera. And in the sales world, I think we do a disservice to leaders and we don't teach them how to be coaches and educators by holding people accountable to do the right thing. Um, Too often, sellers get promoted and they're now leading their peers or friends, and they have a hard time saying, Tony, your qualification process sucks. Take it out of your pipeline until you get good at it. Let's work on this together. I can't have you keep doing this. You're blowing it.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
and
Well, that's an
they,
embarrassment to them because then they feel, oh shit, I just screwed up. Oh my God, what
sure.
am I doing here? I thought I
Yeah.
was getting
Or
this.
I got promoted into leadership and I'm not good. I suck as a leader. I'm out. And the whole process has to start all over again. One of the things about the onboarding programs that I use with the PDQ Pro is I mirror what we did on the ship, and I try to end with a capstone event, if you will, after the qualification, where the new seller has to sit with leadership and explain. And for this, it's just walk them through their account plan. What's your territory account plan for the next 90 days? How are you going to get to quota? Show me how you're going to use the tool. Show me how you're going to do all these things. And a couple things happen when it's done right. First, from go, the sales leader lets the new seller know, hey, in 90 days, when you've completed this, you're going to sit in front of the VP of sales, the CRO, myself, sales enablement, and somebody from marketing, and you're going to explain your account plan for the next 90 days and year. So
Right.
you need to get this shit done, and you need to know it. And when they do that, all of a sudden the new hire like shifts gears and like, oh, okay, I'm going to be held accountable for this. Oh my God. As opposed to, yeah, just go through this LMS. And then, when you do it, I'm going to keep tracking you. Hey, have you done it? Steve, you haven't done it yet. Make sure you do that. Steve, get out there, get on the phones. I need you on the phone, which it doesn't help. And then as the sales leader is coaching and working with the sales ecosystem and helping the seller get good at all this stuff, somewhere along the way, they're going to realize one of two things. This person's awesome. I love him. I want to keep him on the team. Let's keep pushing him. Or I don't think you belong here, friend. It might be time for us to part ways.
Yeah.
And then when they are presented before the committee, the senior leaders and all that stuff, the sales leader is going to be proud. Hey, look at this kid that I just coached up. Look at this guy. He's freaking awesome. I'm giving him to you. And then it's going to, you build this like energy and synergy, and it's awesome. And that builds a team.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Bill, we got to wrap up pretty quick. So
All right, wrap it up.
here's what I want to do. I want to show real quick, everybody, all 10 of them that happen to watch our video here. So this is the PDQ Pro.
You can always put the link in the YouTube video. Check
Yeah,
the show
yep.
notes below.
Do that. I'll add it to the YouTube video and put it below. But this is where you can purchase the PDQ Pro book, and I highly recommend it if you're a small business, medium business, or large business, because even the large businesses, as we pointed out earlier, they may think they have an understanding of how to properly train people. But and one last thing I'm thinking, and I think we talked about it, let's not skip down to that stuff, is oh, are you going to offer this in like Audible as well? Is that a tricky thing? Or I think the book is great because you can write in it, and I think now with Audible you can actually make notes on there too with Kindle and such.
Yeah. I think what I want to do is to create uh, a a website link where you can download and click in, and you can have like a pre-canned podcast that walk them through, so that if you are struggling with developing your sales ecosystem, here's a video of me and Ed having a conversation, or me, Ed, and you having a conversation, walking them through it. Here are the key points. Here are the things that you might run into. Here are the good questions that you want to ask. Be prepared for that.
So what I'm going to do is for our next episode, I'm going to start focusing on what I'm looking for with a salesperson, how to get them trained, and see if I can start applying it
Okay.
with the templates that you have here and the ones that you shared to see if I can start getting stuff in place for preparing for that role, that person. And I think too, what this does is it forces the HR, the business owner, to think fully about what their business is about and how it needs to be properly presented as
Yeah.
well. Go to train, then all of a sudden it's like, holy smokes, I didn't think
Yeah.
about that. Maybe I do need to let them know how to do this kind of thing so they can
Right.
don't have to call tech support. How do we do that again? That kind of
Right.
thing. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
No, that's one of the keys is in order to be scalable and to be effective, it needs to be able to be easy. The information needs to be easily accessible on a repeatable basis, so that you can point them in the direction once or twice, and then from that point forward, they like, don't worry about it, Tony. I know where I'm going. I'm going to go back in there. I'm going to go read it. If I got a question, I'll ask you.
Right.
And
Yeah.
because you want your team to be students of their craft. You want them to be eager learners with a professional childlike curiosity, where they're just really eager to take in information.
Right. Absolutely. 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 Well, all right, sir. Well, very good. All right.
All right,
So
buddy.
I'll share this on there. It was great talking to you.
You too.
We'll talk again, and I'll tell you about the latest things with Nibiru next time we talk.
Hey, while you're out there this weekend, make good choices if you can. Make good choices.
And that's all I can do is try to make good choices. And these days, that's it's kind of crazy.
At the end of the day, I should just say, at the end of this, stop saying at the end of the day, William. It should be just make choices. Make choices, make them fast, and move.
Right. And then, of course, you're going to focus on the best choices you can make in the process. Everybody makes a bad choice occasionally.
And if you screw it up, make another choice. Make it better.
Get up and keep on going. Yes,
There
sir.
you go. All right.
Thank you, Bill. Hold.
Thank you. Oh,
A second here.